Hey, I want to talk a little bit about the red poppy in the UK. If you're visiting the UK, I believe this is also done in Canada, but particularly the UK, around this time of the year you'll see a lot of poppies like this. Are made from paper, and this is what they look like. This is standard poppy. You get different versions. You get metal ones, you get women can wear brooch style ones. There's many different versions. I've got a little lapel one as well. I've just seen a report on the LBC saying that there's a pub in Bristol, the Three Lions in Bedminster, which has actually now mandated that people won't be served a pint if they're not wearing a Royal British Legion poppy, and they've got a donation box there apparently to have that option to pay for it. And this has generated a debate on LBC. Now what's interesting is the comments on LBC are generally critical of the pub's decision, and on the page of the pub itself it's generally supportive. So I'm expecting to get some heat because I laid out my views there. So I'm expecting to get some heat for that. Here's my take. I don't agree with it. I think that technically the pub owner management would have a right to make their own policies, but I don't agree with it. I mean, what are they going to say to, for example, foreign tourists who may not necessarily know this tradition? Are they going to kind of shame them because they're not wearing one, and it may be a totally innocent sort of thing, tourists from the other side of the world who may genuinely not know what it's about? I think both left and right politicise the poppy, and it's really unfortunate. It should be a quiet, dignified mark of respect, and I'm tired of both sides politicising it. So the right-wing side is sort of like, you must show respect, you must wear it. And this is in broad terms, I'm talking right and left. And they sort of think anyone who doesn't wear it is being unpatriotic and not respecting the sacrifice that our fallen made. But the left also politicise it with the whole white poppy thing. I mean, I do not consider the red poppy a pro-war symbol. I mean, it may be used by the Royal British Legion, but it simply symbolises the fact that on Flanders, the front in Belgium, where some of the bloodiest battles of the First World War were fought, such as the Battle of Passchendaele, where my great-great-uncle fell in 1917, poppies were growing, so that's why it became symbolic of this. I believe in France they use little blue flower, and in China and some Asian countries they use other flowers for commemorating war. I may be mixing that up. It may be another Asian country. I'm not 100% sure about that. But it does kind of annoy me when some kind of below-hard right-wingers think that if you're not wearing the poppy, you're not respecting the war dead. And to me, it seems this management is just trying to kind of shame people into wearing it. That, to me, is not the way to endear people to any sort of cause, as justified as it may be. Trying to shame patrons in that way is, I don't think, right. The same pub was very upfront about its patriotism during the Rugby World Cup, I believe, and that's fine. The right-wing knee-jerk thing is, what's wrong with patriotism, etc., etc. There's nothing wrong with it. I have no problem with the flag being flown or anything like that. But I do have a problem with imposing these sort of things on people. So I don't agree with it. Technically, it's up to them what their policies are. But I would have a problem if say for example, it's now the 9th of November. Say for example, I wasn't wearing my poppy 5 days ago, and I went into that pub and they said, "Oh, you're disrespectful, get out." I'd feel kind of insulted, knowing that I am actually a poppy wearer and I just wouldn't have been wearing it that day. So I think it's a bit of a rigid hardline policy, and I don't agree with it. I don't think that is the way. I mean, it's a bit like, if you have any charitable cause, you cannot bully people into supporting it. You just can't, no matter how worthy the cause is. The Royal British Legion are usually polite and respectful. They don't force anyone to buy the poppy, and I don't think they should. But if I was walking down the street and any charitable cause tried to shame me into supporting it, or tried to shame me into, I say charitable because the money goes to help wounded veterans and so on. It's a very good cause. It's a it's a prominent and worthwhile charity, and I'm happy to give money to the Royal British Legion. But any cause that tries to shame me, no, I'm not going to give money to that, because I'm thinking you've got no right to judge my intentions. You've got no right to judge that I believe in something just because I'm, for example, maybe not wearing a poppy at a certain point. So both left and right need to stop politicising this. Some people on the right need to stop making it about patriotism and saying that if you don't wear it you aren't respecting war dead, and the left need to stop saying that it's a militarist symbol. When I'm wearing a red poppy, I'm not saying I agree with a particular conflict or not. I mean, they like to politicise it to say, this is my white poppy. And I can extend this a bit. There was a thing recently about an LGBT poppy. My take on this is there's nothing wrong with representing the sacrifice of LGBT soldiers, of which it's an estimated 200,000 LGBT soldiers served in World War II. I assume that's from the Empire. And that's fine. They should be recognised. But why make it like just another thing, When those soldiers die on the battlefield, I am sure the last thing that their comrades was thinking was, oh, well, you're a gay soldier. They were thinking, this is just one of my comrades that has fallen in battle. Why make it like just another way to say, to stand out? I mean, is a gay soldier any different from a straight soldier? They're both bravely serving their country and in some cases dying for their country. So to me, that's just making separation for the sake of it. I mean, it looks very nice, it's very ornate, and I'm not against it in of itself, but if it's trying to make a statement. And I heard about a school in Canada that actually, now I have to stress here, this was from Rebel Media, so it is a biased source, but a schoolgirl had been told that she would face suspension for wearing the red poppy as opposed to the LGBT poppy. If that is true, that's the sort of direction that the politicisation of this is going, and that's wrong. So let's recognise the sacrifice of LGBT soldiers, but it's like minority soldiers, the 70,000 Indians who served, for example, on the Western Front. More than that, in fact, 70,000 who died. Far more served. Again, they need to be recognised, but let's not make it about just separating people for the sake of it, for the sake of identity politics. Let's recognise all the sacrifice. But like I said, I really don't think that when gay soldiers were serving on the front line and they died, like 100 years later, they would want kind of a special recognition because of the fact they were gay. I'm sure their families would simply want them to be recognised. So why make it, a mark of separation? I don't understand that. Let me know your thoughts.